All of these things will still fall to the table of the politicians.
Correct.
You have to ask whether or not there is the political will to enforce whatever reforms, or to ensure that, you know, there is fairness to all who are involved in the elections.
I think one of the major things that need to be taught to politicians is that it is not a do or die affair. You do not instigate people to go into violence because you have a perception that you're going to lose an election. That's one of the first things that need to be taught politicians. Because in their language, in their vituperation, they're always inciting people. Only because they want to get that power by all means necessary. And that's where we have a problem. We have seen in other climes where elections are on, people who you imagine would win, lose. But violence doesn't break out. It's only in this our neck of the wood that we keep doing this to ourselves. We're not killing animals, we're killing ourselves. And I'm amazed why that should be the thing that we'll be dealing with at this point in time in our lives.
Is it a Nigerian thing? Because I've been thinking lately, or an African thing. Look at what has happened in the Gambia. First, all our colleagues went to President Jammeh, and he did a 360 and said, no, that wasn't it. So if you look at what has happened there in the Gambia, and you put that side by side with what is happening in some places in Nigeria, you must be asking the question, is it in our DNA or something out of, I don't know, but that nature has just given to us?
I just think we need to rewrite who we are. We need to be able to appreciate that who we are may be different from who those people out there are. And in doing that, we'll be able to come to terms with how we want to deal with each other. For all it's worth, Nigerians are not Americans. Nigerians are not British. Nigerians are not German. But Nigerians are human, and they need, at this point, to be able to define what kind of humanity they have. Must we continue to be violent because of election? Must we continue to look at power and say, I must get it by all means necessary? These are things that need to go into our psyche. And we need a kind of motivational talk. We need a kind of motivational leadership that should come from politicians who will be able to preach peace and be able to say, I need this to serve. I don't need it to have power. Politicians are out there today to get power. They're not out there to serve. And that's where we're in this kind of situation that we find ourselves.
Can we get such talks from the president of Ghana and former President Jonathan?
Well, if you look at what we're hearing from them and you try and balance that against what we see happen, do they really mean the talk they talk? Are they really walking the walk? Saying it is different from doing it.
Because they've done it. For instance, President Jonathan, allowed the process run by, and he also accepted. And that's almost the same thing we have seen in Ghana.
So how many politicians in our own climb have done such things?
So it's in the number.
It's in the number. It's got to be an increasing number, because that is where it will have an impact. And to the extent that it is a part of our culture, we need to acculturate ourselves as society to understand that violence should not be part of our election time. It shouldn't be. It should be a process where from our heart genuinely we say, this person I'm voting for because I believe is going to serve us. But guess what? People who are voted into political offices are never given any assignment. So there is no report card you're going to issue them. If voters today come to learn that they need to give those politicians who are seeking for their votes to get into political office, if they know that they can give them an assignment, 1, 2, 3, 4 things you need to do within the period you're serving. By the time you come back to ask us for your vote, we'll be marking you against those 3, 4 things that we give you initially. When people understand that there is always a report card against which they're going to say, we won't vote for you, or you've done well, you did 3 out of 4 things that you said you would do, then we will understand that people do not need to be violent about going into political offices. But because they don't give them any assignment, they get there, they earn fat salaries, and to the extent that there's no report card they have to give, they will promote violence to be able to return such free jobs and free money. And that's what has been going on.
But a place for us to wrap up this look at Rivers Rerun. Mr. Adetokunbo Adedeji of Professional for Change, many thanks for joining us this morning.
You're most welcome.
We'll take a moment now on Sunrise Daily. We'll return shortly. Join us again.